Man, this video is going to be the story of John. The story of John. Um, a little bit of background information on this. I've talked at length about, why track and field and how track and field changed my life, how it saved my life. You can find that video in my channel if you're interested. But it's funny how the gift continues to give. Even after I was done competing in college, I came back and I was able to coach for a few years at my alma mater, at my high school. And I had the privilege of coaching an individual. His name was John. And this is a lesson that really, it's funny how as a coach I almost learned more from the athletes, from the student athletes, than they learned from me, I felt sometimes. So this particular athlete, his name was John. He was a good runner. He was a good runner. He had a lot of potential. But the funny thing was that he would put in the training, and he would do it bang on. He'd be right on with his training. But when it came time to race, he was nervous. He was a skinny kid. He was a lean individual. He had the heart of a warrior. He did have the heart of a warrior. There's no question about that. But he got in his own way. When it came time to race, he was very nervous, very scared, to the point where he wouldn't show up. He wouldn't line up, despite putting in all the work. He was afraid to, when that moment came, he was afraid to lay it all out on the line. And it's funny because what I learned from John was that, and I'm not perfect. I've run from challenges myself in my life. But what I learned from John was that it's not about winning and losing. It didn't matter if he had gone out there and gotten destroyed. The act of lining up on the starting line is a victory in and of itself. I used to think that going out there and losing was... I used to be really afraid to lose. Just terrified of it. The idea of losing in front of other people was like one of my greatest fears, because I failed to realize that our idea of victory and defeat, it's distorted for 99.9% of people. Obviously, it feels great to go out there and win, no question about it. But I think what I've realized is that there's a lot of ancient wisdom in just having the crack. Just having a crack at it is a victory. The only time you've ever suffered a true defeat is when you truly give up. When you truly feel that you are not a champion. If you're getting onto that line and you're having an honest crack at it, a regular day in, day out, consistent effort crack at it, man, you're a champion. I don't give a shit what anybody says. If you're leaving your heart on the line, you're making others around you better. You're making yourself better. And that's the thing. It starts with you. It starts with you making yourself better. You can't go through and talk all this shit and try to, make others better if you're not leading by example. But if you're doing all those things, man, and you go out there and you get beat, you're a fucking winner. Regardless of what anybody says. Regardless of what anybody says, because that's between you and God. Because God knows. God knows when you're putting in work, man. Regardless of what anybody says. And He pays it back in the way that you feel about yourself and how you walk around and how you approach life. Man, it like gets me kind of choked up thinking about it because I've lost more times than I've won. And I'm not just talking about track or I'm not just talking about, sports. I'm talking about life in general. Like the more that I live life, the more I realize that God is the one who's behind all of this. Did I have a vision of like what I hope to become? Sure. But alone, I'm nothing. But God knows, man. God knows, and He rewards you in the long run for getting out there and having a crack every single day. For giving your best every single day. And knowing when to let things go. Letting loss go. Loss, how we perceive things. Man, if you have the courage to get out there and have a crack at whatever endeavor that you're pursuing, don't let anybody talk shit. I mean, let them talk. Let them talk, but you know the truth, and God knows the truth, and that's all that matters, man. That's all that matters because at the end of the day, man, we're all going to the same place. Every single one of us. Life is short. So you got one shot to have a crack at it. You're only defeated when you believe that you're defeated. So John, when John finally did build up the courage to get out there, he ran his personal bests. And I hope that I hope that the lesson stuck with him as much as it stuck with me, because he inspired me.